Hello and welcome to the tutorial for single crochet. I'm going to make a series that shows you just the three or four basic stitches that are pretty much the foundation of every stitch in the crochet world. My name is Justine and I have been crocheting since November 2025, so at the time of recording this it's July 2026, so what is that, well, it's the beginning of July, so 8 months. But I've run a crochet club in Jimboomba, Queensland, Australia, and we meet every Saturday at 2 p.m. At a local cafe, and I've taught a few people to crochet in that group. If you're in Jimboomba or around Jimboomba on a Saturday at 2 p.m. and you want to learn crochet or you love crochet, why don't you think about joining us? You can. So today we are learning the single crochet. So I've got my yarn here. I've got a I don't know if you can see that, 5mm crochet hook. Now this is part of a set that I got from Temu, and I can link below, and it just has interchangeable heads, so I can just screw it in and change the head of the hook size that I want, and it just comes in a little pack with all the different sizes from 3mm up to 10mm. So yeah, it just comes from Temu. I can link that in the comments. I've got a pair of scissors for when we finish, but let's go ahead and start our single crochet. So to start that, we want to make a slip knot onto in our yarn, and the way I do it is I lay my yarn over my fingers, and I'm going to use my index finger. I'm going to take the tail and wrap it around my index finger, and I'm going to cross this tail with the working yarn, which is attached to my skein. So I'm going to make an X. I'm going to hold my tail with my ring and thumb, and then I'm going to take my working yarn and then just wrap it back over the top of my finger. Then I've got two loops on my finger. I'm going to take the back loop and bring it all the way over and drop it. So just drop it, and now I have my slip knot. And a slip knot means that it just it can tighten and loosen as we need it. So once I've got that, I just take my hook and insert it into the loop, and then pull it not too tight, but just so it can move easily along the hook there. So what I do then is, it's very hard to realize what you're doing, so I just tend to hold it, or I'll hold it like this. Sometimes I won't even wrap it behind my pinky. I just want to make sure that this part of my yarn is reasonably tight, because that's where I'm going to go and grab my yarn to make my chain. So we're going to chain up 20, and to do that we're going to take our hook and put it behind this part of the yarn, and then we're going to spin our hook so the hook faces down, so we grab onto that yarn, and we're going to pull it through and then bring it up. So now we have one loop in our chain, so we want 19 more. Okay, so just yarn over, pull it through the loop, yarn over, pull it through the loop, yarn over, spin your hook, pull it through the loop. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, and I like to keep a hold of the chain pretty close to the hook. So we've got 8, sorry, it's catching on the threads. So 9, 10, 11, oops, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so that is our chain. So what we're going to be doing for this single crochet is we're going to be working into the, you can see here we've got a V from our chain. So the top loop, bottom loop, we're going to work through the top loop. Now there's other ways you can do it, but for now, while we're learning the stitches, we're just going to go through that top loop. So we're going to put our hook back in, and then to do a single crochet, we're going to tighten that loop. We're going to go into the second loop from the hook. So you've got 1 loop, 2 loops. So we're going to go into this chain. Okay. So we're going to take our hook, put it through that top loop, and then we're going to yarn over and bring it through so you have 2 loops on your hook, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through both loops. So the next one you want to do is this loop here. So we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to repeat it the whole way down. So you're going to take your hook, you're going to put it back on, you're going to pop it through the top loop, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So you're going to keep doing that all the way down into each stitch, and yarn over, pull through 2. Pop that in. Now working back into your foundation chain is going to be the hardest thing that you'll do in crochet. Once you know your stitches, everything's pretty cruisy. So you want to make sure that your foundation chain, your chains are quite, they're not super tight, but they're not super loose. One tip, if you are finding that your foundation chains are quite tight, is to go up a hook size. So I'm working on with a 5, so maybe go up to a 6 and see if that makes a difference. You don't want to pull on your chains because that tightens it up, but you want to have a firm grip on it. So I like to hold it quite close to where I'm working. Other people like to have a looser grip, but you just find whatever works for you. I'm just going to work all the way back down to the first chain that we did. Keep going. All right, I will meet you back when you've got 2 stitches to do. Okay, just repeat that all the way down to the end of the chain, and then I'll show you how to finish off that row and turn. Okay, we're back. So you can see here I have 2 chains left, so I'll take that out and show you. So 1, 2. So I'm going to make my second last chain stitch, sorry, there, and then I'm going to make my last single crochet. Okay, so what you have then is your first row 1. Okay, so to work row 2, what we need to do is we need to chain 1, and then we need to turn our work, because we always work from right to left. Okay, so then you're going to be working into both V's. So when you turn your work up and you look at the top of the stitch, you can see that there's V's here. So for this tutorial, while we're learning, we're going to work in the, so you've got your first stitch is going to be here, okay? So you've got your turning chain, and that forms, that's worked into this stitch, and we're going to work into this V here, so basically the second one from the row. Okay, we're going to work into both V's, so we're going to insert our hook into the V, so you've got 2 stitches on there, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through those 2, and then so you're left with the 2 on the hook, yarn over and then pull through those 2 on the hook. So then we're going to work into this next stitch here, so pop your hook through, yarn over, pull through 2. So we're going to go into this stitch here, into here, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so we're going to keep going all the way down the row. Keep going. So pop your hook through both, make sure you've got the 2 on there, yarn over, turn your hook, pull through 2. Again, pop your hook through the 2 stitches, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Just keep working that all the way down. Now, I don't have any with me, but there are what they call stitch markers. Now, you can use whatever you want for a stitch marker. You can buy little plastic safety pins, I suppose you'd call them, and they come in a range of colours. I just get them from Temu, but you can use bobby pins, regular baby safety pins, anything that basically will fit through your crochet stitch. And you can use those on the first and last stitch, so you know where you are, or if you're counting your stitches, you can place them at regular intervals, so you know when you get to that stitch, you know how many stitches are before it. There's a multitude of ways to use stitch markers, and some people just use little pieces of yarn and they just feed it through the stitch. I personally like little plastic safety pins that you can purchase because they clip together and they stay where you put them, but it's up to you how you want to use them or what you want to use. So this one, we've got 2 stitches left. We've got 1 here and then 1 here, so pop that through, and then we're going to feed it through the last one here. So we're at the end of our row again, so we're going to chain 1 and then we're going to turn our work. So you've done 2 stitches, 2 rows of single crochet. You've got your chain 1, you've got row 1, row 2. Okay, so we're going to keep going into doing our single crochets. You can just practice for as many rows as you want, and I'll meet you back here when I've got a few rows, and I'll show you how to fasten off your work so that you can either change color or you can finish your project. But I won't show you how to, sorry about that, I won't show you how to change color in this one. We're just learning stitches. Once we have learnt all our stitches, we'll go into changing colors and things like that. So keep going, practicing your single crochets for now. Single crochets are great. They are a tight stitch where if you want something that doesn't have a lot of holes that you can see through, or for baby blankets because your little fingers can't get stuck in the holes, it's a great tight stitch that you can make scarves, baby cardigans, blankets, everything. So it's a very handy stitch to know. Okay, well, I'll meet you back once we've done a few rows, and I'll show you how to fasten this off so that you can continue on with the project or finish the project. Welcome back. So I'm just finishing off the last 2 stitches, and then I'll show you how to fasten off and weave in. So I'm just going to go into my V's, and over, pull through 2, and then my last stitch is here. Put that in, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through 2. So what we want to do to fasten off is we want to just chain 1 and then pull that up. So make sure you have a long tail, and just chop that off and then pull through the tail through, and it's fastened off there. So that is our single crochet, and I will just have a look, grab out one thing that I didn't show you that I use is what they call it's just a plastic darning needle, so it has a wide eye in there so you can get your yarn through easy, and it's not sharp. So what we can do with this is we just thread our yarn through, put that through, and then we just weave this through our stitches. So I like to make sure there's no real front or back, but just choose the side that you want to go through, and I just like to take it down into a stitch just through the middles of the stitches. So just bring it down, don't pull too tight so you're distorting it, but just, yeah. And then I like to weave it through little V's, so the little feet of our single crochets. So just keep going, and this is why you need a long tail, so you can weave it in properly. So I can just pop that through. Again, don't pull it too tight, just enough to so that it's not bubbling. Now you can change direction, so you can go in, down, just so it's not all in a straight line, and it makes it harder for it to pop out. So you want to make sure that you're only going through the middle of the stitches, and that your darning needle isn't showing through the other side, because if it's showing through the other side like this, it means you're going to see the thread. So you want to make sure you're going through the middle, just the middle of the stitches, and then that way you're not showing a line through the stitch. So keep going, make sure, yep. And then you can just go back on itself. So to go back on itself, you want to make sure wherever that thread is coming out, you want to jump over the stitch so it sort of anchors itself, and then pull it back through those stitches. Okay, just make sure you're not pulling it too tight like that and distorting the stitches, just nice and gentle. And then that way your thread won't come loose and unravel your work. It's probably enough. So I'm just going to pull it through like that. Take your needle out, and I like to just pull it just slightly, and then snip it off as close to the fabric, your work. So you're left with a little tail here, but when you pop it in, your little tail disappears and it gets hidden under the stitches. So that's one side. We have the starting one as well, so we can do that. This is from where we chained, from our foundation chain. So again, just taking it down through the stitches, wherever you can get your needle under. If you have to do one stitch at a time, that's fine. I'll jump up to the next row. Easy to get the stitches, get the needle through those stitches. Just making sure you're not pulling too tight. And then I might just go back because this isn't as long. So we'll go down. And we'll go back through these stitches as far as you can. Oops, I suppose that's it. So making sure you're pulling your yarn through just so it's nice, and then just give it that little extra tug and then snip off so your little tail disappears. So that's our little tail in here. So we're going to pop it through and it's disappeared into there. So that's our little sample. Now you can go as many as you want, but I'll show you how to count these stitches. So we started off with a chain of 20 and then we skipped the first one and went into the second one. So we should have a row of 19 stitches. So if we look at it this way, we can count the stitches here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. This is our 19th stitch here. So we've got 19 stitches across. So we started with 20, and because we skipped one on the chain, it left us with 19. So we're constantly doing 19. So every few rows, I would just double check your count to make sure that you're not losing stitches or adding stitches. Now, the other way we can count is the rows that we did. So we started off with the foundation chain here. This is our foundation chain. You can see it's not as defined as the top. The V's aren't as defined because we used half of that V for our single crochet. So this is the top where we finished, and this is the foundation chain that we started. So we don't count that as a row, but we count the next one here, which is this one here. This is row 1, row 2, row 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So that's 11 rows there. Okay, so that is single crochet. You can see it is a little bit stretchy. You can see through it, but a baby's not going to get their finger through there, and it's nice. So that is single crochet. The next video I'll do is going to be half double crochet, and then we'll step to double crochet and then triple crochet. Now, the other tips for a beginner is it's not a hard and fast rule. You can if you want to. Sorry if you can hear my puppy barking. Try to steer clear of darker yarn. Use lighter colors. It's easier to see the stitches in a lighter color, especially when you're learning. So yeah, try and stick to the lighter colors for now, and when you're more confident in your stitches and you can see where you're placing your hook in a stitch and you know the anatomy of your stitch, then yeah, world's your oyster. Okay, so again, I am Justine and I run Jimboomba Knit Knot Crochet in Jimboomba, Queensland, Australia. If you're around at 2 p.m. on any given Saturday, then we're most likely having a meeting at our local 107 cafe, 107 Coffee Terminal. But if you want to double check, there will be an event on my Facebook page for that week. And you can, but we'd love to have you, we'd love to see you, and yeah, happy crocheting.